subscribe to my channel.
If you've been waking up with that quiet knot in your stomach, if you've been rereading her texts, trying to figure out what you did wrong, if you've been telling yourself you're just overthinking, while something inside you feels smaller every single day, I need you to listen carefully, because sometimes love doesn't break you with shouting. Sometimes it breaks you with sentences. 5 sentences, 5 phrases that don't sound dramatic, that don't look abusive, that don't make your friends gasp, but they slowly rewrite who you are. And if a woman tells you these things consistently, not once in pain, not once in fear, but as a pattern, you don't need to fight harder. You need to leave. I'm not here to make you cynical. I'm not here to make you suspicious of love. I'm not here to make you suspicious of love. I'm here because too many good men stay in situations that quietly dismantle their confidence, their clarity, their sense of self, and they call it commitment. Let's talk about the first thing. If you really loved me, you would pause with me for a second. That sentence sounds almost romantic, doesn't it? It sounds like a plea for reassurance. But psychologically, it's a trap. Healthy love invites, it doesn't coerce. It doesn't measure your loyalty by how well you override your own boundaries. If you really loved me, you would stop talking to her. If you really loved me, you would cancel that trip. If you really loved me, you would choose me over your family. If you really loved me, you would quit that job. Do you see what's happening? Love is being turned into leverage. And when love becomes leverage, it stops being love. It becomes control disguised as vulnerability. Now I want you to be honest with yourself. Has she made your love feel like it's always being tested? Like you constantly proving something? Like you one misstep away from failing? That isn't intimacy. That's emotional conditioning. Over time, your brain learns if I don't comply, I lose connection. So you comply, you shrink your world, you adjust your voice, you silence discomfort, and you tell yourself it's compromise. But compromise is mutual. Coercion is one-sided. If she uses love as a bargaining chip, if affection feels conditional, leave, because you cannot build a secure relationship on emotional blackmail. The second phrase is quieter. On the surface, that sounds like self-acceptance. But listen to how it's used. You tell her something hurt you. She dismisses your feelings, you try to explain. She says, this is just how I am. Translation, I will not grow. I will not reflect. I will not consider your experience. Growth is the oxygen of a healthy relationship. When someone locks themselves into a fixed identity, especially one that harms you, they are telling you they value comfort over connection. And here's where it gets painful. You probably don't want her to change who she is. You just want her to care that it hurt you. That's reasonable. That's healthy. But when someone repeatedly hides behind, that's just me, what they're really saying is your emotional safety is not my responsibility. And if you stay, you will slowly begin to question your own standards. You'll say things like, maybe I'm too sensitive. No, you're responding to repeated invalidation. There is a difference. The third phrase is one that erodes you quietly. You're too sensitive. This one is dangerous because it shifts reality. You bring up something specific. Something concrete, something that made your chest tighten. Instead of engaging with what happened, she critiques how you feel about it. You're overreacting. You always take things the wrong way. You always take things the wrong way. You are too sensitive. This is subtle gaslighting. And I want to be careful here, because not every disagreement is manipulation. Sometimes two people genuinely see situations differently. But if there's a pattern where your feelings are consistently minimized or mocked, your emotional system begins to doubt itself. You start censoring your own reactions before you even speak. You become hyper-aware, hyper-vigilant, hyper-anxious. You rehearse conversations in your head before bringing them up. You think, how do I say this so she won't think I'm dramatic? Do you hear what that does to you? It teaches you that your inner experience is inconvenient. And when a man disconnects from his own emotional signals, he loses clarity, he loses confidence, he loses power. You are not too sensitive for wanting respect. You are not dramatic for wanting emotional accountability. You are not weak for wanting to feel safe. If she repeatedly invalidates your feelings instead of trying to understand them, leave, because the longer you stay, the more you will question your own reality. Now the fourth phrase, this one cuts deep. No one else would put up with you. Take a breath. That sentence is not frustration. It is strategy. It is strategy. It is designed to create scarcity in your mind. It implies that your value is so low that she is doing you a favor by staying. And the terrifying part, if you've already been worn down by the previous patterns, you might believe it. Maybe she says it after an argument. Maybe she says it half jokingly. Maybe she says it half jokingly. Maybe she says, "You're lucky I love you." But the message underneath is clear. You are difficult. You are flawed. You are unlovable without me. This is how dependency is engineered. And dependency feels like attachment, but it's built on fear. Fear that you won't find better. Fear that you don't deserve better. Fear that you don't deserve better. Fear that you don't deserve better. A person who truly loves you does not need to convince you that you are hard to love. They remind you that you are worth loving. There's a massive difference. If she makes you feel like your value is tied to her tolerance, leave. Because love should expand your sense of worth, not shrink it. Now the fifth phrase, and this one might be the hardest to hear. I don't need you. At first glance, that sounds independent, empowered, strong, and independence is healthy. But listen closely to the tone and context. Is it said during moments of vulnerability? Is it used to shut down emotional closeness? Is it weaponized to punish you for expressing needs? I don't need you can become a shield against intimacy. Healthy relationships are not about needing someone for survival, but they are about choosing interdependence. They are about saying, I don't need you to survive, but I deeply value you in my life. When someone repeatedly emphasizes that they don't need you, especially in conflict, what they're often communicating is emotional detachment. And here's what that does to you. You start chasing. You try to prove your relevance, your importance, your usefulness. You overgive, you overfunction. You become the emotional glue. And the more you invest, the more exhausted you feel. Because you cannot build closeness with someone who keeps one foot out the door. Now I want to pause. Because this is important, none of these phrases on their own, spoken once in stress, mean you run. We are all human. We all say imperfect things when hurt. Consistency matters. Character reveals itself through repetition. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for willingness. Willingness to reflect. Willingness to repair. Willingness to repair. Willingness to grow. If those 5 phrases show up repeatedly without accountability, you are not in a partnership. You are in an emotional negotiation for your own dignity. And I know leaving is terrifying. You've invested time, memories, energy, hope. You remember the early days, the laughter, the way she looked at you, the version of her that felt soft and safe. You keep waiting for that version to come back. But here is the painful truth. When someone shows you who they are consistently, believe the pattern, not the potential. You cannot love someone into emotional maturity. You cannot sacrifice yourself into being chosen. And staying does not make you loyal. Sometimes it makes you afraid. Afraid of starting over. Afraid of starting over. Afraid of being alone. Afraid that maybe this is the best you'll get. But let me ask you something gently. What is it costing you to stay? Your sleep? Your confidence? Your focus? Your sense of self? Are you becoming more grounded or more anxious? More secure or more unsure? Your nervous system always knows before your mind admits it. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells, if you feel like you're constantly defending your character, if you feel like you're shrinking to keep peace, that is not love. That is survival. And you were not built to survive your relationship. You were built to thrive inside it. There is strength in endurance. Yes. But there is also strength in discernment. Strong men do not tolerate emotional erosion in the name of love. They choose environments where respect flows both ways, and I want to speak directly to the part of you that thinks leaving means failure. It doesn't. It means you finally listen to yourself. It means you stop negotiating with behavior that hurts you. It means you decided that your peace is not optional. Imagine waking up without that knot in your stomach. Imagine speaking without rehearsing. Imagine disagreeing without rehearsing. Imagine being loved without being tested. That is possible. But not if you stay where you are consistently diminished. You deserve a relationship where your emotions are heard, where your boundaries are respected, where your presence is valued, where love is freely given, not strategically withheld. And here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Leaving isn't about rejecting her. It's about choosing you. It's about saying, I will not participate in dynamics that reduce me. It's about saying, I will not participate in dynamics that reduce me. It's about recognizing that love without respect is attachment, that closeness without safety is anxiety, that passion without accountability is chaos. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong person, and that realization can hurt. But it also frees you, because once you stop trying to extract water from a dry well, you can start walking toward a river. There is a woman out there who will not need to be convinced to respect you, who will not measure your love by how much you surrender yourself, who will not weaponize your vulnerability. But you will never meet her if you stay loyal to someone who slowly dismantles you. So if she repeatedly says, if you really loved me, you would, this is just how I am, you are too sensitive, no one else would put up with you, I don't need you. Listen, not with fear, with clarity. Those sentences are data, and data is power. You don't need to argue, you don't need to convince. You don't need to beg for emotional reciprocity, you can quietly choose dignity. And dignity is magnetic. It rebuilds your posture. It rebuilds your voice. It rebuilds your sense of self. You are not weak for loving deeply, but you are responsible for protecting your emotional world. So protect it, guard it, honor it. And if you recognize these patterns in your life, don't wait for a dramatic breaking point. Sometimes the bravest move is the quiet decision to walk away before you completely lose yourself. You are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be valued. And the moment you truly understand that, not intellectually, but in your bones, everything changes. You stand straighter, you speak clearer, you choose better, and you never again confuse emotional turbulence with passion. You never again mistake control for care. You never again accept sentences that chip away at your worth, because you finally understand something powerful. Love should feel safe, not uncertain, not conditional, not threatening, safe, and you deserve nothing less.